Hi guys, Chapter 10. Transport Capsule in Trouble, Attack Number 1. While Shuckworth, Shanks, and Showler were being chased out of the space hotel by the Canids, Mr. Wonka's great glass elevator was orbiting the Earth at tremendous speed. Mr. Wonka had all his booster rockets firing and the elevator was reaching speeds of 34,000 miles an hour instead of the normal 17,000 miles an hour. They were trying, you see, to get away from that huge, angry, vermicious Canid with the purple behind. Mr. Wonka wasn't afraid of it, but Grandma Josephine was petrified. Every time she looked at it, she let out a piercing scream and clapped her hands over her eyes. But of course, 34,000 miles an hour is dawdling to a Canid. Healthy young Canids think nothing of traveling 1,000,000 miles between lunch and supper and then another 1,000,000 before breakfast the next day. How else could they travel between the planet Vermis and other stars? Mr. Wonka should have known this and saved his rocket power, but he kept right on going and the giant Canid kept right on cruising effortlessly alongside, glaring into the elevator with its wicked red eye. "You people have bruised my backside," the Canid seemed to be saying, "and in the end, I'm going to get you for that." They had been streaking around the Earth like this for about 45 minutes, when Charlie, who was floating comfortably beside Grandpa Joe near the ceiling, said suddenly, "There's something ahead. Can you see it, Grandpa?" "Straight in front of us." "I can, Charlie, I can." "Good heavens, it's the Space Hotel." "It can't be, Grandpa. We left it miles behind us long ago." "Aha," said Mr. Wonka. "We've been going so fast, we've gone all the way around the Earth and caught up with it again. Splendid effort. And there's the transport capsule. Can you see it, Grandpa? It's just behind the Space Hotel." "There's something else there too, Charlie, if I'm not mistaken." "Oh, I know what those are," screamed Grandma Josephine. "They're vermicious Canids. Turn back at once. Reverse. Go the other way." "Dear lady," said Mr. Wonka, "this isn't a car on the motorway. When you are in orbit, you cannot stop and you cannot go backwards." "I don't care about that," said Grandma Josephine. "Put on the brakes, stop, backpedal, the Canids will get us." "Now let's, for heaven's sake, stop this nonsense once and for all," Mr. Wonka said sternly. "You know very well my elevator is completely Canid-proof. You have nothing to fear." They were closer now, and they could see the Canids pouring out from the tail of the Space Hotel and swarming like wasps around the transport capsule. "They're attacking it," cried Charlie. "They're after the transport capsule." It was a fearsome sight. The huge, green, egg-shaped Canids were grouping themselves into squadrons with about 20 Canids to a squadron. Then each squadron formed itself a line abreast and with 1 yard between the Canids. Then one after another, the squadrons began attacking the transport capsule. They attacked in reverse with their pointed rear ends in front, and they came in at terrific speeds. Wham! One squadron attacked, bounced off, and wheeled away. Crash! Another squadron smashed against the side of the transport capsule. "Get us out of here, you madman!" screamed Grandma Josephine. What are you waiting for? They'll be coming for us next," yelled Grandma Georgina. "For heaven's sake, man, turn back." "I doubt very much if that capsule of theirs is Canid-proof," said Mr. Wonka. "Then we must help them," cried Charlie. "We've got to do something. There are 150 people inside that thing." There they are, attacking the squadron, the little spaceship thing. They're talking. They're saying it's a capsule. Down on Earth, in the White House study, the president and his advisors were listening in horror to the voices of the astronauts over the radio. "They're coming at us in droves," Shuckworth was shouting. "They're bashing into us." "Who? You haven't even told us who's attacking you," said the president. "These dirty, great greenish-brown brutes with red eyes," shouted Shanks, butting in. "They're shaped like enormous eggs, and they're coming at us backwards." "Backwards?" cried the president. "Why backwards?" "Because their bottoms are even more pointy than their tops," shouted Shuckworth. "Look out, here comes another lot." Bang! "We won't be able to stand this much longer, Mr. President." The waitresses are screaming and the chambermaids are all hysterical. "The bellboys are being sick and the hall porters are saying their prayers. So what shall we do, Mr. President, sir? What on earth shall we do?" "Fire your rockets, you idiots, and make re-entry," shouted the president. "Come back to Earth immediately." That's impossible, cried Schouler. They've busted our rockets. They've smashed them to smithereens. We're cooked, Mr. President, shouted Shanks. We're done for because even if they don't succeed in destroying the capsule, we'll have to stay up here in orbit for the rest of our lives. We can't make a re-entry without rockets. The president was swearing, and the sweat ran all the way down the back of his neck and inside his collar. Any moment now, Mr. President, Shanks went on. We're going to lose contact with you altogether. There's another lot coming at us from the left, and they're going straight for our radio aerial. Here they come. I don't think we'll be able to. The voice cut out. The radio went dead. Shanks, cried the president. Where are you? Shanks, Shuckworth, Shanks, Schouler. Shallworth, Shucks, Shankler, Shankworth, Shuckler. Why don't you answer me? Up in the great glass elevator, where they had no radio and could hear nothing of these conversations, Charlie was saying, surely their only hope is to make a re-entry and dive back to Earth quickly. Yes, said Mr. Wonka, but in order to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, they've got to kick themselves out of orbit. They've got to change course and head downwards. And to do that, they need rockets. But their rocket tubes are all dented and bent. You can see that from here. They're crippled. Why can't we tow them down? Charlie asked. Mr. Wonka jumped. Even though he was floating, he somehow jumped. He was so excited, he shot upwards and hit his head on the ceiling. Then he spun around 3 times in the air and cried, Charlie, you've got it. That's it. We'll tow them out of orbit. To the buttons, quickly. What do we tow them with? Asked Grandpa Joe. Our neckties? Don't you worry about a little thing like that, cried Mr. Wonka. My great glass elevator is ready for anything. In we go. Into the breach, dear friends. Into the breach. Stop him, screamed Grandma Josephine. You be quiet, Josie, said Grandpa Joe. There's someone over there who needs a helping hand, and that's our job to give it. If you're frightened, you'd better just close your eyes tight and stick your fingers in your ears. There they are, turning around inside the elevator. So they're going to go and help the space capsule, the transport capsule, and fight off these canids. I wonder what they're going to do. We'll discuss that in a little bit, okay? And I want you guys to draw me a picture, write me something out that goes with it, and I'll see you in a bit. Don't forget, wash your hands. See you later.